Well, hi friends, I'm Rick and this is your seat at the table. I'm Rick. Welcome to your seat at the table. This is little Missy. She just climbed up on here. I thought I'd better, you know, give her a little attention. Yes, yes. She gets some weight on her. About time. Like I said, she's becoming more integrated with the cats out in the rest of the house. Still got a little ways to go. They're still wanting to smack each other and things like that, and the wife freaks out. She thinks they're attacking each other. It's not attacking. They're just cats Yes, they're dominating. They're establishing their pecking order, and that's what animals do. As long as they're not in a vicious tearing each other up kind of fight, I don't worry about it. But trying to keep peace as much as we can. Anyway, right. So we're looking at error report 3145. So this is the current era of the game, and boy, I came into the I re-entered the BattleTech world a couple of years ago, and so I was really behind in a lot of things. There's the entire Jihad and Dark Age, or the Dark Age and Jihad I completely missed, and of course the current age. So I come in and found the entire. All right, let's take it from this perspective. I came into the game with a fully established understanding of where we came from before. And so when I came into the current era, the first thing that was shocked to see just how discombobulated the inner sphere had become. After the Jihad, because of the Jihad and then the Dark Age that follows, the chaos and aggression took its toll. So what we find is if you're already in and you know and you've established, bear with this. So what I found was that the Free Worlds League had literally imploded, which is something that had been implied all along. Ever since the first day of BattleTech, when we're introduced to the Great Houses, it's implied the Free Worlds League's a hot mess, and it's always been a hot mess, and that it was how it had managed to stay together as long as it had, etc., etc. And the FedCom was the white hats, and the Hal Steiner was the rich ones, and the Draconis Combine were the hardcore frickin' samurai ones, and the Compellings were ones everybody hated because you couldn't trust them. That was the basics, the very basics of the concepts from the earliest days. Now, of course, everything's evolved and changed. Not everybody's equal. So at the time of the Fourth Succession War, we see how Federated Sons and House Davion and House Steiner and all get together and form the largest, most powerful bloc since the Star League era, or since before the Star League era, perhaps. And so they're at the top. They're on top. They're on top. The Free Worlds Leagues are more or less still kind of left alone, and the Compellents take the brunt of the aggression for the Fourth Succession War. The Combine has managed to take some losses, make some gains in traditional, Combine style, and weathers it. So here we go, 100 plus years later, a couple decades later, the clans invade. So the clans invade, and we end up with another hot mess from a different angle. So the Draconis Combine and the Federated Commonwealth, specifically the House Steiner side of it, they're the ones that suffer the brunt of the invasion of the invading clans. And the Free Worlds League actually benefits from this. They benefit from the first time in a long time. They start their production capabilities become quite on par with House Steiner's abilities and their finances. But more importantly, they're left. There's almost an entire generation there that's left unmolested, unfettered. They don't fight any serious conflicts. They don't really contribute all that much to the actual combat that goes against the clans either. Not until the formation of the Second Star League kind of stuff, and even then it was more on the support side than it was on the combat side. They did send combat units, but not many. And the Compellents were basically licking their wounds. They were still beaten down, but they were starting to recover, and in ways that the rest of the houses weren't paying attention to. So what we come back, like I said, leap forward another 80 odd years. So now we're in the current era. And what do we find? Well, the House well, an entire house that, or the Republic that came and went, now gone, and House Liao is top dog right now. It's just complete polar opposite of how everything started back in the 80s. So the Compellings with their, Zheng Zhao was very savvy, very intelligent until he got to the end. There's some questionable crap going, but where how can the Liao? There's always questionable crap, but he was able to completely rebuild his shattered military and actually make it stronger. And then his ancestors, or his descendants, surpassed this in ways because with the formation of the Republic of the Sphere, there was some understandings that we're going to all the houses were supposed to reduce their militaries, etc., etc. Except House Liao finds ways to get around that. Mostly they lied and hid these excess material units and started building new units from them. So they're currently really top tier. And then the Draconis Combine sees a resurgence too in this era. So we see the Draconis Combine, they retake a lot of the worlds that they lost to the Republic of the Sphere, and they have I don't want to say disastrous, but let's just say an inconclusive combat war with the Ghost Bear Dominion, and the Ghost Bears reminded them why you don't fuck with them. Excuse my French. And then there's the Novacat issue, and then the Snow Ravens Alliance, or Snow Raven Alliance, or something poking at them. But their big success is there's the taking the Dragon Reach and invading all the way and capturing New Avalon. And then hubris and arrogance gets in the way. Typical Japanese philosophy when it goes to the Bushido and the samurai that's been mutated and corrupted by the Draconis Combine into their own version because it's a little different. So Tornaga just decide, we can't give up New Avalon. We got to keep it. Really? Well, you got to f up sooner or later, right? Because that's just the way it goes. They had this tongue all the way, so that the ever smaller path of support that was impossible for the logistics chain to keep them supplied until once the House Davion's allies and stuff decided they were done, and so was the Combine in Federated Sons territory. So it's not surprising that the Federated Sons eventually retake New Avalon and are now shoving the Drax back to their border. The Free Worlds League, like I said, is still a hot mess. It's disintegrated. And a couple of the original founding components of the Free Worlds League really didn't want to be a member of anybody but themselves, but only joined the Free Worlds back in the day because they were going to be, it's the small fish, big fish thing. You either got to hide or you got to become part of a bigger group, or the other groups will consume you. So when the Duchy of Andria breaks off, the Duchy of Andria tried to break off and gain its freedom from the Free Worlds League numerous times over the centuries. So that now that they've broken away completely, it's not surprising they don't want to come back. And then they further complicate this with their, questionable ties with the Compelling Confederation and the Magistracy of Canopus. See, that was the other thing about the Confederation. One of the Sun Tzu's brilliant moves was to get the Confederation and the Magistracy to be buddies. Now they're linked by marriage and blood. So this two different entities that someday could merge to become one, although I seriously doubt that. I think that would be bad. I think a lot of the players, a fan base, a catalyst, not that y'all pay attention to anything I got to say, but I honestly think the Magistracy should never actually merge with the Confederation. I think it would be a terrible idea. There's a special place for a lot of the fan base for the Magistracy of Canopus. So let's leave the Canopians where they are and what they do. And it's great they're benefiting from all this too. They're on par. It's ironic that they're at the peak, and the house and the Turians have taken it in butt. I mean, the Turians have had some problems, right? So then we get to House Steiner and for the love of God, I know the damn thing. I'm just drawing a blank on the frickin' name of the damn house, or the. Oh, for the love of God, the Commonwealth, right? So the Commonwealth not quite badly disintegrated by as the Free Worlds League, but mostly by it seems like they were assaulted by a number of clans and have had that kind of problem. And then later on, the Marians decide that they want a piece of the two, or is that against the Free Worlds League? Anyway. So the Periphery nations aren't being quiet either. So there's a bunch going on in there. But so we've seen the Commonwealth is having its not in a good shape, and they're struggling. Although they're starting to put itself together. The novels are showing that they are regrouping and starting to come together. Fortunately, there's still a whole lot of very minor systems and small fiefdoms and stuff that are independently broken away, either for survival reasons or for power reasons, that eventually these big fish are going to have to bring them back, willingly or not. When we go back to the Free Worlds League, we got the Regulans and the Humphreys of the House of Andrea, and they're not coming back. The Regulans might. The Free Worlds League may be able to either pull them back or drag them back. I don't see that they're going to do that with Andrea. And then it's just still a bloody hot mess. And in the midst of all of this, we now see, the Ill Clan era, because Clan Wolves managed to achieve the ultimate goal of the clans and capture Terra, which makes them the Uber clan. Although it sounds like only some of the clans are taking a knee. And personally, I think Elric's going to have to address that. You can't be the head of the clans and half the clans flip you off or ignore you. So they're going to have to toe the line, and if they don't, Alaric's going to have to force them to. And I suspect he'll have to do that before he tries to take on one of the bigger houses. I also suspect that some of these little Trump states are going to go way of the wolves taking them, and the Wolf Empire growing and becoming much bigger. We shall see how that goes. But as the report goes, this book was very informative, and I really enjoyed going through it because it kind of filled in some missing points that I wasn't quite sure exactly what was going on. And here the great map shows that just how brutally messed up everything is. The inner sphere, or the Republic sphere, for all intents and purposes, by the end of this era, it's over with, because our new era would be the Ilkhan era, and it would be 31, 40, 56, 66 or something. Anyway, it's just the amount of stuff that was going on. Another thing that I have very little information till the last year or so was the Republic of the Sphere itself, and it was the formation of the Republic of the Sphere, with very, very earliest books that came out for the Dark Age. Like I said, I've got the first 5 or 6 Dark Age novels, and I had up to 9 or 10, and some of them disappeared. I think they got lost in storage and stuff, and moves. I don't know what happened to them. But there was a whole lot of in the series I didn't buy. I couldn't afford to pay for them, and I couldn't find some of them until many years later. A couple of Red, Big Red's channel, he recommended a couple books last year that I went and bought and read, and they were well worth buying. I mean, they kind of really hummed in what the hell was going on, and some key points from the Dark Age that was missed in my mind. There's still a lot about the Jihad I don't know, or not quite in tune with, right? Specifically the Word of Blake and the functionings of the Word of Blake. I don't know that there's a source book that covered that stuff. I mean, there were a series of them, and I read them, and I did videos on those, the Jihad books. But there's still a lot of stuff that's not in those Jihad books that left me going, okay, where's the rest of the stories? Where's the connections? It was purposely, intentionally vague and mysterious by design, because that's a typical BattleTech meme. There's a lot of that in BattleTech. In fact, I'm going to do a video on that too. Gray Monday video coming up soon. The book itself, though, it really gave me a lot of insight into current era, and I suspect reading it once is not enough. This is one I'm going to have probably in a few months. I'm going to have to sit down. Probably will toss it in the bathroom so I can just reread it again to absorb some of what I saw. And a lot of what I'm looking at is the I've read most of a good chunk of these novels. I mean, uh, there's still a few that I haven't got, and we're back to that. I can't afford to buy everything anymore. I just can't afford to buy on a regular basis like I would like to. So there's some books out there that they're out, but I haven't been able to buy them. And I need I need them in a paperback version. I can't. A PDF version does me no good at work. I can't take for Christmas, the wife got me a little tablet, but I can't figure out how to use the damn thing. Honest to God, I don't know how to get it to do anything. I mean, I really don't. The instruction manual's tiny, and I'm struggling with it. And it's sitting on my table out there, and I haven't touched it in 2 months, month and a half, because I got tired of fiddling, I got frustrated with it. I think I'll go back to it at some point, but there's a number of novels that I just can't afford to buy them on a regular basis like I would like to. Hopefully that will change, but I don't. It is what it is. But there was a lot of this stuff that really interested me is not the mainline stuff. So we know what's going on in the Ghost Dominion because of the novels. We know what's going on in the Federated Suns and Draconis Combine because of some of the novels. Well, I don't know is how we got to the point where we're at in the current novels, because there's previous novels that I don't own and don't have and can't afford to buy at this point. I'm just being truthful. So there'll be some information there that outside the source books I may never get the answers to. And then there's always these secondary and trinary. The Battletech universe is so big, it's so vast. There's so many factions out there that a lot of factions are just peripheral. We call it the periphery for more than one reason. A lot of those things are there for flavor and extra fluff. But we don't really get into any great details into what the actual going on's out there, other than the occasional this, that, and the other thing that meshes with current big stuff going on in the inner sphere. And inside the inner sphere, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that we don't always see, that's kind of hinted at or implied, right? That's part of the nature of it. And so this book brings us into the current mindset of the Compelling Confederation. And from what I can see, the Compelling Confederation's actually at a cusp. The Chancellor has no children, so it's not quite established just who's supposed to follow him when he goes. And we all know that the compelling chancellors can have very long lives and they can have very short lives, and sometimes things happen, accidents happen. The current crop of the other Liaos, though, are not encouraging. These don't sound like very sane people. That said, their connections to the Magistry are actually more saner, but then they're walking a tightrope when they deal with the Chancellor specifically, or the damn House Liao. But House Liao is kind of at its pinnacle at the current moment. And it's on the cusp of evading what's left of the Republic of the Sphere before the House or the Clan Wolf manages to breach the barrier and capture Terra and officially kill off the Republic of the Sphere. So at this point, the Confederation is still likely to snap up more territory, and it's in conflict with its neighbors, specifically the Federated Suns, and I suspect that reversal of fortunes, which is typical for Battletech, is about to occur. I suspect we're going to see House Davion and House Steiner see an upsweep again and start regaining lost ground. We're already seeing the Free Worlds League and the fake Merrick family line reestablishing control and slowly starting to pitch it and sew it back together again, trying to recreate the corpse, and hopefully so they can animate the Free Worlds League into something like it once was. We're seeing a lot of that going on. The Draconis Combine are having internal issues, like always. The Draconis Combine's worst enemy is itself. It's always been that way. I mean, it just kind of goes with the territory. So there's a lot of renaissance going on right about the time that the Ilk Clan era kicks in. And we already have a general idea of where Catalyst is going to take this. And though even they will tell you that nothing's set in stone, some things are. They've already committed to product development for the next couple of years. They already have new products in development now. The next set of source books are in production. The novels are being in the process of being written. That's the ongoing thing. So the trick is you have to set down this goals and have an idea where you want the storylines to go and aim for them. The goal is to aim for them, but they don't always end up exactly in the transition of the plan. That said, plans also change. There was they took a lot of heat when it was, this idea that the clans are going to become, the Ill clan is going to dominate the inner sphere, and then we're going to come down to an era where we got the lost command kind of, that's a terrible meme, and a lot of people don't like it at all. And I'm still not 100. I get it, and I understand a bit about what that meant, but I don't know the full impact, because that's kind of predates where I came in. Like I said, when you step out of something for a decade and a half, you got to pay for it in knowledge somehow, and that's where I pay for it. But I think it also gives me having stepped away as long as I did, gives me kind of I don't want to say unique. Well, I'm unique. I'm me, right? Okay, but I have a unique position that I'm intimately familiar with everything up until 2002. And then everything after 2002 until this past year and a half or so, I'm in that wow stage where I'm trying to learn. So I have a solid foundation, but now I'm trying to bring that second story up to code, and so it gives me that an interesting mix of fresh stuff and old hat stuff that goes in play. And so I wrestle with that sometimes. And it kind of gives me a little bit of I don't want to say insight, but an idea of where the game's going and where it ought to go. Keep in mind, I'm not suggesting this is going to happen to Catalyst anytime soon or ever. But Catalyst is number 4. That's the truth. They're number 4. They're the 4th entity to control the franchise, to operate and produce material to shepherd the Battletech universe. It's the truth. So FASA had a view for where they wanted to go, and it's hard to say WizKids gave any damn one bit what FASA planned. Because it's obviously, they did a time skip of sorts to start their version of their Dark Age. So they had their Dark Age. And most of that was more for the video games. Video games, my understanding. So that's when FanPro steps in. Some elements that were left over, some folks that were at FAST that weren't ready to give up on the game, and got together and figured out this submit, and they were able to get a form of a franchise right. So they were able to get the physical paperback version, the novels and the game rules. So that's why one of the reasons why Battletech's system is so convoluted, because different groups of people own different rights to different shit. So you'll never get a consensus together. So the video games guys are going to do what the video game guys do, and it won't always jive with the tabletop version, and vice versa. But they're very intimately connected, whether they like it or not. Truth is, the video game version of it would be nowhere if it wasn't for all the brick and mortar, the pen and paper. I'm just pointing it out. It is what it is. So, different set of parameters. So we don't know what. When FanPro came together, they were trying to fill in the gaps, and they did a credible job. They cranked out a lot of crap, and I use that term accurately. There's some crap. No offense, the Mercenary Supplement and extra book. Like, I got 5 Merc books, and for all intents and purposes, are just altered versions of the first book. They changed some things, added a few things, but the majority of the stuff in those books, probably 50-60% of the content, are just consistent from where in my mind they should have went. Every book should have highlighted. You're going to highlight 20 different Merc units. Every book should have 20 different Merc units, not repeats of the same Merc units. Unless you're talking a vast, we're talking Generation B and Generation D. So yeah, Generation D would need an updated bio for our Merc unit, because it's been 20 years or 30 years and shit's changed, right? So we don't know what the goal was for them either, or for WizKids when they went belly up, when they lost control or they gave it up, however it played out. So Catalyst steps in, and Catalyst brings some of those original key people from FAST's era forward. And I believe a couple of them were with FanPro 2. I'm a little vague on just who and what and how they're all connected. And I don't want to start. I don't want to be tossing names around because I don't want to cheese anybody off over their Catalyst. I really don't. I mean, uh, once again, Red Man, you're living a dream that you don't may or may not really understand just how much you are. I saw you doing. You're at the table with the big boys, the big dogs at CGL playing game on a video live. That's what I'm talking about right there. See, so if you want to look at an example, getting off topic just a hair, of Wizards of the Coast problems with Dungeons and Dragons today, it's Hasbro's and the people that the Hasbro hired to put in charge of Wizards of the Coast, who have a very, very narrow view of what they want. What they want is a video game. Because they come from the video game side of the game system. They don't understand the pen and paper side. They don't appreciate it. They don't respect it. There's the big problem. If you stop respecting it, you're going to lose it, and that's what they're in now. Their their fan base is in an uproar. The way they're handling is just terrible, and then yeah, it's just getting worse. So it's very possible that the icon of the role playing game world, Dungeons and Dragons, is on its last legs. We actually might see an era where the Dungeons and Dragons that we knew as pen and paper comes to an end, and becomes solely the product of a video game industry that are just greedy fucks. My opinion, anyway. So, and excuse my French once again. I don't know, be monetized. Well, guess what? I don't get monetized anyway. I still ain't broke 1,000, and I still ain't figured out how to get on. They keep sending me a notice I need to sign up for that damn thing, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. I mean, I really haven't put a whole lot of effort to it. I went and got a copy of my driver's license and stuff because you need to be able to submit some kind of proof to who you are. I guess the same process I got to do for buy me a cup of coffee. I'm still not quite figured out that one, and that's on me. I really need to figure this crap out. I don't know. It's just a pain in the ass. That said, I mean, most of you guys have probably read this and have it before me. You get a good bio, a lot of interesting characters. There were some characters in here from the novels that I still don't know enough about. I obviously I'm missing some stuff. There must be a novel or two that deal with this Malvina Hazen, and I can't imagine there weren't, because I'd like to know more. I'd like to read more about them, and I think they're out there. I just haven't been able to acquire them, or I don't have the money to pay for them, and so that I'm not looking hard for something if I can't pay for it. Therein the lies in the rub, and there's so much interesting things going on in the current era. It's just nuts. And to add the Elk Clan now, well, the Elk Clan is a new era. So this era was pretty brutal. And if you don't have this book and you're a big BattleTech fan, why the hell don't you have this book? You can still buy it. It's on the Catalyst website. Bing, bang, boom. PDFs all day long. I don't know if you can get a hard cap. I suspect you can still get physical copies of these things. I mean, this was a donation to the channel as well for one of my subscribers. Utterly grateful. He gave me pretty much all the error reports I got and to current. And I mean, right. The other one that I've been reading a lot up on is the Wars of Reaving, because that is another element that I missed out on, and it really kind of tied together what the hell's going on back in the clan homeworlds. And that's not only important to players who are big fans of the clans. I can take or leave the clans. I appreciate their value to the game. I do. I appreciate their value to the game and the additional factions. And there's some factions among them that they're great. I really find them very appealing and interesting. The Nova Cats, and I'm glad to see that through the Spirit Cats that they're not completely gone, and that we might see a renaissance with them. That's something that the Ilkhan could do if he wanted to reconstitute the Nova Cats, as long as they were loyal to the Ilk Clan. I could see him doing that. And of course, the Snow Raven and Snow Raven's Ravens Alliance. Irony of irony, they're both space-based oriented societies. Their militaries are always about aerospace assets first and ground forces second. But the Alliance is dirt poor and technologically backwards, in a lot of ways purposely ignorant. They're the space Mennonites in some ways. So to have this Uber clan come in and merge with them, and it's from what I've read, it's less merging and more absorbing. As it's been manipulated, so now the clan Snow Raven Khan is elevated now above the president of the Alliance. When originally they were equal partners, now the president is subservient to the warrior case of the Snow Ravens, which, if it works. A lot of the people who live in, inhabitants of the Outworld's Alliance, rats, they don't really care who's running the show as long as the pirates don't steal their stuff and they can get enough to eat. So, to have these people take a lot of responsibilities off some of their shoulders, they're welcome to it. So it's a good mesh, and it'll be interesting to see where they go, if they go. And there's another one, like I said, there's one of the many factions where we don't get a lot of information on because they're not the name. You only have so many novels. The company can only produce so many source books. Or I'm just pointing out the market will only bear so much, and there's only so much. So there's a reason why we don't have dedicated source books to all the factions, which is a shame. I will say that often. It's a shame. But anyhow, this was really good to read, and like I said, I fully intend to put this back and go back and reread it a little bit again, because there's a couple components in there that I'm trying to just absorb into my mind, because there's so much. This era was so busy, so much going on, that it's hard to put it all into perspective sometimes. And sometimes that's the fun of the game. Anyway, I'm Rick. That's Missy. You're you. It's Saturday. Tomorrow's Easter. It's kind of beautiful out there. Hope you guys have yourself a great weekend. And I should learn to pause and space that off a little bit.